Good day everyone, I am Shane Espinosa. So for today's vlog, we will going to learn about the ethnocentrism and relativism. So ano pang inaantay nyo? Arat na! So what is ethnocentrism? Ethnocentrism is judging another culture solely by the values and standards of one's own culture. And I have a video here that shows an example of ethnocentrism. So let's watch.
Эй, братан, что у нас тут есть? Можно вот этого взять?
Это?
Да, охуенно.
Ага.
Насчет вот этого.
Ага.
Да, я заплачу. Окей, братан. Так. Да.
Да?
Да, ну заебись, охуенно. Так.
Так.
Вкусно, ебать. Вкуснотища, ёб твою мать.
Ага.
Да, давай, охуенно. Да, delicious. О, вкусно. Ну-ка. Да, brother. Так, спасибо, brother.
Давай.
Спасибо.
Aba. Oh. This. Bueno. Eso. Una, por su vamos. Dah. Sabar. Apa dah? Bang. Hai. Dah. Apa? Dah. Bang, itu dia rồi. Đó rồi. Đó. 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 Ada. Apa dia? Apa dia hả?
Hola, ¿sí cómo?
Kok ada babo?
Kasih kan itu berarti?
Mana?
What?
Hai.
¿Cuál es el comida? ¿Qué? ¿Contigo?
Bienvenido por qué?
ক্ষতি হয় না অনলাইনে দিলে
না 10 টাকা আমার 10 টাকা
একটা দাম তো টাকার ভালো করে দিছি বাজার এগুলো দেখলে আর ঠিক হবে না বুঝছে না সমস্যা নেই পান খাওয়া দোষ আজকে ওরা কি আমল করে গেছে কি অনলাইনে পারে পাবে না সবারই আপনার
And those people you see in the video are called ethnocentric individuals. Ethnocentric individuals judge other group relative to their own ethnic group or culture. especially with concern for language, behavior, customs, and religion. According to William G. Sumner, ethnocentrism is defined as the technical name for the view of things in which one's own group is the center of everything, and all others are scaled and rated with reference to it. He further characterized it as often leading to pride, vanity, beliefs of one's own group's superiority, and contempt of outsiders. In the study of anthropology, ethnocentric are people born into a particular culture that grow up observing the values and the behaviors of the culture, will develop a worldview that considers their culture to be the norm. If people then experience other cultures that have different values and normal behaviors, they will find that the thought patterns appropriate to their birth culture are not appropriate for the new cultures. However, since people are accustomed to their birth culture, it can be difficult for them to see the behaviors of people from different culture from the viewpoint of that culture rather than from their own. Examples of ethnocentrism include religiocentric constructs claiming a divine association like divine nation, one nation under God, God's own country, God's chosen people, and God's promised land. Cultural relativism. Cultural relativism, it is the principle that an individual person's beliefs and activities should be understood by others in terms of that individual's own culture. So let's watch the example of cultural relativism.
18. Respect the religious beliefs of others. Tolerance is a good cornerstone on which to build human relationships. When one views the slaughter and suffering caused by religious intolerance down all the history of man and into modern times, one can see that intolerance is a very non-survival activity. Religious tolerance does not mean one cannot express his own beliefs. It does mean that seeking to undermine or attack the religious faith and beliefs of another has always been a short road to trouble. Philosophers since the times of ancient Greece have disputed with one another about the nature of God, man, and the universe. The opinions of authorities ebb and flow. Just now, the philosophies of mechanism and materialism, dating as far back as ancient Egypt and Greece, are the fad. They seek to assert that all is matter and overlook that, neat as their explanations of evolution may be, they still do not rule out additional factors that might be at work, that might be merely using such things as evolution. They are today the official philosophies and are even taught in schools. They have their own zealots who attack the beliefs and religions of others. The result can be intolerance and contention. If all the brightest minds since the 5th century BC or before have never been able to agree on the subject of religion or anti-religion, it is an arena of combat between people that one would do well to stay out of. In this sea of contention, one bright principle has emerged. The right to believe as one chooses. Faith and belief do not necessarily surrender to logic. They cannot even be declared to be illogical. They can be things quite apart. Any advice one might give another on this subject is safest when it simply asserts the right to believe as one chooses. One is at liberty to hold up his own beliefs for acceptance. One is at risk when he seeks to assault the beliefs of others, much more so when he attacks and seeks to harm them because of their religious convictions. Man, since the dawn of the species, has taken great consolation and joy in his religions. Even the mechanist and materialist of today sound much like the priests of old as they spread their dogma. Men without faith are a pretty sorry lot. They can even be given something to have faith in. But when they have religious beliefs, respect them. The way to happiness can become contentious when one fails to respect the religious beliefs of others.
So as you can see in the video, the people shows respect and understand what is the other culture of the other people, even though they are not the same. Cultural relativism was established as accepted in anthropological research by Franz Boas in the first few decades of the 20th century and later popularized by his students. Cultural relativism was in part a response to Western ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism may take obvious forms in which one consciously believes that one's people's arts are the most beautiful, values the most virtuous, and believes the most truthful. Was first articulated the idea in 1887. Civilization is not something absolute but is relative, and our ideas and conceptions are true only so far as our civilization goes. However, Boas did not coin the term. Franz Boas, originally trained in physics and geography, argued that one's culture may mediate and thus limit one's perceptions in less obvious ways. He understood culture to include not only certain tastes in food, art, and music, or beliefs about religion. He assumed a much broader notion of culture defined as the totality of the mental and physical reactions and activities that characterize the behavior of the individuals composing a social group collectively and individually in relation to their natural environment, to other groups, to members of the group itself, and of each individual to himself. This understanding of culture confronts anthropologists with two problems. First, how to escape the unconscious bonds of one's own culture which inevitably bias our perceptions of and reactions to the world. And second, how to make sense of an unfamiliar culture. Generalization. Ethnocentrism, the tendency to assume that one's own culture and way of life represent the norm or are superior to all others, while cultural relativism, the viewing of people's behavior from the perspective of their own culture.
新しい本買ったから早く渡してあげたくって。どんな顔するか楽しみ。